Welcome to our second Year 7 end of term quiz. So get your pens at the ready, get your family around to help you, and let's get going. There's going to be 2 halves and there are 8 rounds altogether, and there are 5 questions in each round, just as before. Halfway I will give you the answers, and then at the end I'll give you the second part of the answers. Good luck. This round is literature. These questions have been given by Miss Teal. Question 1. Which classic J.M. Barrie book is about a boy who can fly but never grows up? Which classic J.M. Barrie book is about a boy who can fly but never grows up? Question 2. A person's a person, no matter how small. Which Dr. Seuss book is this from? A person's a person, no matter how small. Which Dr. Seuss book is this from? Question 3. Which Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale tells of a princess whose royal identity is confirmed by a sensitivity test? Which Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale tells of a princess whose royal identity is confirmed by a sensitivity test? Question 4. What type of travelling case does Red Riding Hood have at the end of Roald Dahl's Revolting Rhymes? What type of travelling case does Red Riding Hood have at the end of Roald Dahl's Revolting Rhymes? Question 5. Who flies too close to the sun in Greek mythology? Who flies too close to the sun in Greek mythology? And that is the end of the literature round. The next round is food, which has been handed in by Mrs. Griffiths. Question 1. The rice dish paella comes from which country? The rice dish paella comes from which country? Question 2. True or false? India is the world's largest producer of bananas. True or false? India is the world's largest producer of bananas. Question 3. Lures, reels, hooks, baits and nets are common equipment in what food gathering method? Lures, reels, hooks, baits and nets are common equipment in what food gathering method? Question 4. Chiffon, marble, bunt and angel are all types of what? Chiffon, marble, bunt and angel are all types of what? Moving on to our last food question. Question 5. What food is used as the base of guacamole? What food is used as the base of guacamole? These questions on geography have been sent in by Mr. Parks.
Number 1. What is the most populated city in the world? What is the most populated city in the world? Question 2. What is the smallest parish in Jersey by area? What is the smallest parish in Jersey by area? Question 3. What is the capital of Canada? What is the capital of Canada? Question 4. On what continent is Jamaica? On what continent is Jamaica? Question 5. What river flows through Paris? What river flows through Paris? And that is the end of the geography round.
We now move on to news of the week. Question 1. 2 pandas are due to be returned to China from a Canadian zoo because of a shortage of what food caused by the COVID-19 crisis? 2 pandas are due to be returned to China from a Canadian zoo because of a shortage of what food caused by the COVID-19 crisis? Question 2. Which song by ABBA has been voted the greatest Eurovision song of all time by BBC viewers? Which song by ABBA has been voted the greatest Eurovision song of all time by BBC viewers? Question 3. More than 7,000 people have signed up for free classes created by 15-year-old Tyrese Dibber, teaching what language during lockdown? More than 7,000 people have signed up for free classes created by 15-year-old Tyrese Dibber, teaching what language during lockdown? Question 4. On which English island has the NHS been testing its coronavirus contact tracing app? On which English island has the NHS been testing its coronavirus contact tracing app? And our final question in the news round. Question 5. Which American singer of the 1950s who styled himself the king and queen of rock and roll, has died age 87? Which American singer of the 1950s, who styled himself the king and queen of rock and roll, has died aged 87? Answers from the first half of the quiz, so get your green pens at the ready. So back to literature from Miss Teal. Question 1. The answer to that J.M. Barrie book was Peter Pan. Question 2. Horton hears a who. A person's a person, no matter how small. Question 3. It was the Princess and the Pea that was confirmed by a sensitivity test. It was her laying on all those mattresses. Question 4. Red Riding Hood has a pigskin travelling case. And finally, question 5. It was Icarus who flies too close to the sun. Okay, the next round, which was food from Mrs. Griffiths. Question 1, paella comes from Spain, and paella it apparently comes from the pan it is cooked in, a paella pan. It is true, India is the world's largest producer of bananas and 30 million tonnes a year. Question 3, they are all used in fishing. Fishing, I'm sure a lot of people are doing that lately during lockdown, especially Mr. Parks. Question 4, they are all types of cake. Very tasty, yummy cake, but Mrs. Griffith said her favourite is actually chocolate fudge cake. Question 5, it's the avocado that makes guacamole, the avocado. The answers from geography from Mr. Parks. The most populated city in the world is Tokyo. Question 2, it's St. Clement's that's the smallest parish by area. And the capital of Canada is Ottawa. Jamaica is in North America. And it's the Seine that flows through Paris. How are you doing so far? Okay, and on to the news questions. It was bamboo that they had to return to China for the bamboo. Question 2, Waterloo is the greatest Eurovision song that's been voted. I won't sing it for you, do not worry. British Sign Language that 7,000 people signed up for. Question 4, it's the Isle of Wight doing their testing on this contact tracing app. And the last question of this half is Little Richard. That's Little Richard. How did you do? Okay, this is the sport round which has been sent in by Miss Moon. Okay, question 1. Kai Havertz scored 2 headers as Bayern Leverkusen hammer hapless Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga in Germany. But what was the score? Kai Havertz scored 2 headers as Bayern Leverkusen hammer hapless Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga in Germany. But what was the score? Question 2. What is the name of Jersey-born 10-year England netball player who decided to take a break from netball for the 2019-2020 season? What is the name of Jersey-born 10-year England netball player who decided to take a break from netball for the 2019-2020 season? Question 3. A 13-year-old Jersey student who wished to represent GB in the future has gained funding, but for what sport?
A 13-year-old Jersey student who wished to represent GB in the future has gained funding this week. But for which sport? Question 4. Which sport is deemed acceptable to play during lockdown? Is it A, rugby, B, netball, C, tennis, or D, hockey? Which sport is deemed acceptable to play during lockdown? A, rugby, B, netball, C, tennis, or D, hockey? Okay, question 5, the last one of the sport round. Where is the Island Games due to be held next year? Where is the Island Games due to be held next year?
The next science questions are based on water and have been handed in by Miss Hankinson. True or false? Sound travels faster through water than air. True or false? Sound travels faster through water than air. Water is made up of what two elements? Water is made up of what two elements? What is another name for a tidal wave? What is another name for a tidal wave? The solid state of water is known as what? The solid state of water is known as what? Nimbus, cumulus and stratus are types of what? Nimbus, cumulus and stratus are types of what? And now we have the logo round, and this round was handed in by Mr. Heaven. Can you name the 5 logos? Can you name what the 5 logos are? And we move on to our final round, Lekeneve. Question 1. In what year did the original Lekeneve school building open for students? In what year did the original Lekeneve school building open for students? Question 2. Who was the first head teacher? Who was the first head teacher? Question 3. How many members of staff are ex-Lekeneve students? How many members of staff are ex-Lekeneve students? Question 4. Whose face is on the front cover of the spring edition of the Q News? Whose face is on the front cover of the spring edition of the Q News? And question 5. What is the longest word you can make out of the letters from Le Caneve? What is the longest word you can make out of the letters Le Caneve? Okay, now it's time to see the answers. So here are the second half of the answers, starting with our sport. So the score for that match was 4-1. It was 4-1. Question 2, the Jersey-born netball player is Serena Guthrie. Serena Guthrie. Question 3, sailing. So the 13-year-old is going to be representing GB in sailing. Question 4, it was tennis. Tennis. And question 5, next year the Island Games will be held in Guernsey. Okay, then we had Miss Hankinson's science, all about water. Question 1 was true. Sound travels faster through water. Question 2, water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. Question 3, another name for a tidal wave is a tsunami. Tsunami. Question 4, ice. Solid state of water is ice. Question 5, nimbus, cumulus and stratus are all types of clouds. And then moving on to Mr. Heaven's logo round, we had number 1 was Netflix, number 2, I'm sure you all know, TikTok, number 3 is WhatsApp, number 4, YouTube, and number 5, I'm sure very popular during lockdown, the PlayStation. Okay, and our last round, which was the Le Caneve school round, it was 1965 that it opened for students. In 1965, it had its grand unveiling and grand opening in 1966. It should have been ready in 1964, but it was originally open for students in 65. The first head teacher was Mr. Watts. 11 members of staff are ex-Le Caneve students. And it was Vincent van Gogh that was on the front cover of the Q News, Vincent van Gogh. And finally, the longest word you can make from the letters Le Caneve is queenliness. Queenliness, didn't even know that was a word. We have come to the end of the quiz for this half term. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a bit of fun. I really hope you have a lovely half term and a week off. Hope the sun continues and you're able to get outside and enjoy a bit longer outside and maybe trying to see some people with social distancing. I hope I have given you a bit of silliness this Friday morning, and we look forward to seeing you when we're able to come back again. Bye-bye.